Hi, welcome back. In the previous video on relation, we have seen what do we mean by relation. So relation is basically an equation, we can say, which connects the two variables x and y. Okay. So now let us see when is a relation called a function. But before saying this, we have to see that what do we mean by domain and range, what are the different types of relations or the mapping between domain and range, and after that we will see when does a relation also called a function. So let us see what do we mean by the term domain and range. Let us take an example. Suppose we have a relation y is equal to 2 times of x. So we first take the values of x, okay, and we then determine the value of y. We say that when x is 1, following the relation y is equal to 2x, y will be 2. When x is 0, y will be 0. When x is negative 1, y will be negative 2. When x is 4, y is 8, and so on. Okay, so we see here that x is our independent variable. Independent variable is x and y is our dependent variable. The value of y depends on the value of x. Okay, so a set of dependent variable is called the range and the set of independent variable is called the domain. So here y is a set of independent variable. All these values of y forms a set of values which are dependent on the values of x. So this is a range. And x, the independent values, forms the domain. And the domain is mapped to the range by a relation. In this particular case, our relation was y is equal to 2x. So domain is all the independent values and range is all the dependent values. If we consider in terms of y and x, then all the x values in this particular case goes in the domain and all the y values goes in the range. So I hope the term domain and range is clear to everyone, and we map the values of domain to a given value in the range by following the relation which is given to us. Okay, now let us see what are the different kinds of mapping that can happen between a domain and a range through examples. Let us take 4 examples. First example, y is equal to x plus 2. Okay, let us draw the domain here. This is our domain, all the x values, and this is our range, which is the corresponding y values. They are connected by the relation y is equal to x plus 2. I'll take some values of x, 0, minus 1, minus 2, 1, 2 and so on, and I'll map it to the value in the range. When x is 0, y is 2, minus 1, it becomes 1, it's 2, 0, when it's 1, it's 3, and when it's 2, it's 4, and so on. We can have many values of x and we can map it to the corresponding range. Now, what do we note here? We see that for every one value in the domain, there is exactly one value in the range. Okay? Every single value in the domain is mapped to a single value in the range. Okay? And we see here that this kind of relation is called a one-to-one relation. Now, let us see another example. Now we will take, say, y is equal to x square. Okay, please note that If x is 1, then the corresponding value of y following the relation y is equal to x square will be 1. 1 square is 1. If it is minus 1 also points to 1. Okay, if x is 2, then the value of y becomes 4. If x is minus 2, then also it's 4. We see that many values of x maps to one value of y. More than one value of x is mapping to one value of y. For example, minus 1 and 1 both maps to 1. 2 and minus 2 both maps to 4. So this kind of mapping or relation is known as many to one relation. Okay, let us see a third example. Y is equal to square root of x. Right. Now let us quickly take the values of x, which is our domain. So x, I'll take it as say 1, I take it as 4, I take it as 9 and so on. I'm just taking x as all perfect square so that it's easy to figure out the square root of those numbers. And we know that square root of 4, for example, we get two outputs, either a plus 2 or a minus 2. Correct. So for 1, we will have two outputs. We will have two values of y, either plus 1 or a minus 1. For 4, following the relation y is equal to square root of x, we will get square root of 4, which is plus 2 or a minus 2. And for 9, again we will have a plus 3 or a minus 3 and so on. So what do we see here? We see that one value of x is pointing to, or it's mapped to, more than one value of y. One value of the domain is mapped to more than one value of the range, and this relation is known as one-to-many relation. The kind of relation which we'll be learning will be many-to-many relation. So we can say example will be a student and classes, correct? One student can go to many classes, or one student can go to a French class, one student can go to an English class or a math class, and each class can have many students. So a math class can have many students. Yes. So this kind of mapping is known as many-to-many mapping. Many-to-many relation. So these are the four different types of relations: one-to-one relation, many-to-one relation, one-to-many relation, and many-to-many relation. Now the question is, are all these relations functions? So the answer is no. What are functions? Functions are relations. Functions are relations which provide exactly one output for a given input. Means that if you have a function here or a relation, you give the input as the x value and you get exactly one y value, then such relation is called a function. Okay, you can even provide more than one values of x, x1 and x2, but your output should be just one single value. So this means that because in these two types of relation only we are getting a unique output or a single output every time, a one-to-one relation or a many-to-one relation. Please note, if you have any doubts regarding this video, you can send me an email at kirti.mathacademy@gmail.com. This is my YouTube channel, Mathacademy. If you have liked my videos, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you.